Hi there, it's Jean Paglio, and I am here with part 2 of our tangled tulip-like plants. I just really am having a good time with this. As you can see, I've already started darkening my rocks, the shadows between where they stack, and I've erased everything, I've inked everything. It's wonderful. I really love it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add details and color. I chose to use markers for this. However, you can use watercolor if you choose. You can use watered down acrylics. You can even use acrylics, but you lose a lot if you use them full strength. So what I'd like to do is I would like to get started with that. Use whatever you have and whatever is more comfortable for you. I just want you to just really have a good time with this, relax, have fun, be creative. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just remember that word is not in our category here, and it's not in my dictionary either. I used 2 shades of pink, and I'll show you those. I'm going to scratch paper here. This is the lightest one, and this is the darker one. Now, I came in with my pen, my paint water pen, and I moved this color around, and it blends nicely together. So again, any of you that have painted with me before know that I use a water pen and a water brush, rather, I'm sorry. And you can fill the well just by taking it apart. Put the water in there and screw it back together. And there you have it, a very nice pen. It's very nice for traveling. If you are sitting waiting at the doctor's office, you can you can actually pull this pen out and this paintbrush and just put your markers on there and have a good time. Make sure you bring a little paper towel or a Kleenex so that you can wipe your brush off. It cleans very well. All you have to do is just squeeze it. Squeeze the water, wash it, blot your pen, and you're good to go. Now I used the green as well, 2 shades. This is the darker green, and this is a twin tone, and it is also a Tombow marker. But I wanted to use this because I didn't have the color that I know. It's a shock, isn't it? I didn't have the color. But I just wanted to make sure I had the right colors to use on this. So I used these 2. And again, the darker green overtakes the lighter green. So what we'll do is we're going to start painting with our lighter green first. And then when we want to shade, see how nice and light that comes out? When we want to shade, we'll just come in with a little bit of the darker green, pick some of that up, and just drop it where we need to so that it comes out beautiful. Okay, so let's get started. I hope you've had a really good time with this whole deal here because I've really had a great time. I've made 3 of them already, and I think I have 2 more hanging around that I've gotten started using different flowers. So if you're interested in doing different flowers, just let me know and leave me a comment, and I would be happy to do that. I can make a film with those and show you how to use them on cards. Not a big deal. I enjoy doing these projects, but I always look forward to seeing what you would like to do next, what your interests are, and what media you would like to use. Okay? So let's get rolling. We're going to do the stones last. I want to do the stems and the flowers first. I'm going to add some marker to my palette here. I have a little tiny palette today. And I'm going to put both pinks and both greens out. And there they are. Okay. So now I have to adjust this again. I have a new arm on here. Yeah, it's a little challenging. So I'm going to put this out. And we will start with the vine first. And we'll do the flowers last. So I'm going to come in with a little bit of my green, my lightest green, and just drop the color in there. And you could actually use, and I'll show that to you in a moment, you could actually use the marker itself if it's thin enough for you. You can drop in your color. It's a twin tone tip, so you have a wider tip on one end and a finer tip on the other. So whichever you would like to use is perfect. It doesn't matter. I tend to go a little bit smaller before unless it's a large space like this one, then I would come in with a marker. And the colors vary as well, so you can see that. And don't worry about getting your color on the paper. It's not important, okay? We're just going to come in and add a little moisture to this so we can pull the color down. And again, just want to fill in those edges. Pick up a little more color. Fill in your leaves as you go along. Doesn't matter if they're light in the first place, because light can be added to and dark is more difficult to subtract from. So keep that in mind when you're painting. I just want to get this on here. And then I'm going to show you how to come back in and add the darker to it. Now this is still moist, so I can drop a little bit of color in there and just kind of let it flow. And in the center of the leaves, if you look at my sample, the center of my leaves are a little bit darker. So that's when you want to pick up more color, less water, and just drop it in there. And you see how that works? It tends to flow right in there. Less water, more color. When it dries, you see. When you run out of color on your palette, again, you can go in with your marker and just wipe it down first and then go in with your marker and add more color. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the marker end and come in and just add some light color. I'm not going to fill it in completely. If you can see that, there are little gaps in the color. And I want that because I'm going to add a little bit of the dark green over it. And when I do that, it's going to make a difference. And it'll be easier to blend out if it's lighter and has some spaces. It's also quicker, but that's not the point here. The point is to get your color on, leave some white or some light space, and then you can come in, add your dark, and then blend it together. And you'll see what I'm talking about when we get to that point. If you have too much color to begin with, again, you can remove it with a wet brush, but it's much harder to take out than it is to put in. So I always advise building your color rather than just jumping in and adding a whole bunch in the first place. Don't get anxious over it. It's a simple situation. Okay, so now I can come in with my darker green, and this time I'm going to use the small tip, and I'm going to add my green in the center because I really want some dark green in there. And I'm just going to tap it in here and there as I go along, because you can reconstitute this just like you can with watercolor. Okay. So you see, I haven't been too particular about how I put it in. I just want enough for it to blend well. If it is too dark, then I have to come back in and work at it. And I'm a lazy painter. I'll tell you that right now. I like to do things the simple way. I don't want to overwork it. I don't want to underwork it. I just like to have fun and laze around while I am doing something, just so that I get a good feel for what I want the final project to look like. If you strive to make it right the first time around, well, okay, but it's easier if you just build as you go. It's like a house. You don't start from the top down, you start from the bottom up. So we're going to start with the bottom foundation, going to come in, moisten that just a little bit, blend it out. Be careful, take your time. And you see I have a variety of color now. I still have some very light spots, and I want that. And I have some very dark spots, and I want those spaces in there as well. See, I'm going to leave this side of the flower a little bit light. That might be where the light is hitting it. Your light source can come from your left or your right. It's up to you. Depending on the time of day, it would come from the right or the left. But be consistent. Once you start with one side, you want your light to come from that side. As you go through these little classes with me, I think you will start to, if you haven't already, you will start to develop your own style. And your style doesn't have to be my style, but I really want you to just relax, enjoy, de-stress, have a good time, and make something that you're proud of at the end. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. There is no perfection in life. I just say that a lot. And you're probably tired of hearing it, but I have to remind people, you know what? Perfection is, it's a stressor. If you strive to be perfect, there are right ways to do things, and there are other ways to do things. It all depends on you and how you feel about it. Now, I'm not concerned about the smudges I have here. I have this here, and I have another one down here. And I'm not concerned about it because when I get down at the end, they probably won't matter and they won't show, and I'm not concerned about them anyway. So what we'll do next is we're going to come in with the water pen, the water brush. I'm squeezed out a little bit of water on my palette, and I'm going to pick up the light pink. And I think I'm going to start over here. And I would advise, if your paper is a little wet, where you wet your stems and stuff, just give it some time, a little few minutes or so, to dry out, because that way you save yourself a lot of work. Sometimes it blooms when you don't expect it to, so you'll get some green into your pink, and it's harder to get it out. So once you have completed all of your basics, you can come in and just add a little bit more color if you want them a little bit darker. And then I'm going to show you, I'm picking up my dark pink now, and I'm just going to drop it in right there. Just dropped it in. Pick up a little bit more, drop it in there. I want it to create a shadow. And what that does is it gives it more form. Makes it look real rather than flat. So now I'm going to come in over here. It's still a little damp. And I'm going to drop the color in just a little bit. Want some in here, and I want some in here, so it gives it a darker look. Okay, now I'm going to clean my brush, wipe it good, and then I'm going to come in and tickle this color a little bit at the edge. And I'm going to continue to do that with all of the flowers, so you can continue on and not concern yourself with how bright or how dark they are. But again, you want to start with your lightest color first. Get that on there. Then you can come in with your darker color. Just drop it in. See how it blooms by itself. Even in places where you don't want it to bloom, it blooms anyway. And keep going. If at the end you need to come in and add more, that's fine. Over here I might come in and lighten this a little bit. I don't want to scrub the paper too much, but I want to blend it a little bit because it has a hard line. Sometimes you can get away with it, and sometimes it won't move for you. So you don't want to scrub too hard, because if you do, then you might ruin your paper. And we don't want that. So continue on with your flowers as you go along. Get your color in there. Start with your light. Then come in with your dark. Drop it in. Just drop it in. It's darker on my screen than it is in actuality. I just want to let you know that. Come in here. I'm going to clean my brush a little bit. And come up and do these. You can do them any color that you would like. However, I recommend that you do it with two colors that don't fight with each other. So I chose 2 shades of pink, red. You could have 2 shades of yellow, 2 shades of blue, 2 shades of purple, lavender, whatever you desire. Just make sure that you have one lighter than the other. So again, I want to stress to you that if you would like to do another project that is similar to these. I had such a good time doing this one that I really felt that I should do a whole bunch of them. But I do get that way. I see something that works for me and I just jump right in with both feet. And then I have too many and that doesn't work either. So I wet my little smudges over here a little bit with just a touch of water. And it looks better already. I can do that down here as well, but I'm not going to worry about it. I just want to make sure everything is dry before I get carried away. So I have 2 more flowers to go, and we can do those right now. And I think you're really going to like doing the stone wall. I really like the stone wall. Okay. What we'll do next is you can always go in with your darker green and add a little bit more accent to your leaves if you wish, right in the center, because they are darker in the center than they are anywhere else. And I just like that little extra depth that it creates. It's up to you. You can do as you please, but I like when it actually looks darker on one side than on the other. Okay. Now we are ready. We're going to let those dry, and we're not going to come back in until they are completely dry because we're going to use our micron pen. And I really want the pen to not bloom a little bit. Microns don't like wet paper. However, if you go ahead and paint the paper and you let it completely dry, you can use a micron over it. If you use the micron first and you let it set for a while, then you can use color over it. It's very strange how it works, but it works that way. So I would like to show you how I did the stones. And I just came in, and wherever I left a little crack, I don't know if you can see that, I'll give you a close-up. There's a little crack right here, okay? Little space between the stones. I came in and I just colored that with my micron pen. So they actually look like they're stacked on top. Oh, I'm sorry. They're stacked on top of each other. And that would create a little bit of a shadow. So I did that with most of them. And this one has a really good sized crack, so that's a nice one. This is just the beginning of our creating really believable blocks of stone. I have a lot of stone in front of my house, on the front of my house, and it came from a quarry. And it's just really beautiful when you look at it, to think of the colors in it and the feel of the stone, the roughness or the smoothness of it. It's kind of interesting. It really has a lot of texture. And a little bit of scumbling in there, you know, when you do this kind of stuff. It's kind of like, I call it scumbling. A lot of people call it scribbling. And when I want to make a little shadow, I can use this and then just come in and darken it a little bit. See how that works. Again, this is behind. This stem is over the rock. So because the rock is behind it, the rocks are behind it, you want to make sure that you get the pen in there right and not cross over your stem. Don't ask me how you would fix that. Oops, I really have no idea. I'll have to think about it. So again, we're almost all the way around. And it's coming along nicely. And there we have it. So we have this portion done. Now I'm going to take my 01 and I'm going to come in and give my rocks, my stones, some flicking. And when I say flick, it's F-L-I-C-K, flick, 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 flick. See how doing that builds up a shadow? So this is where I'm going to start. And this takes a long time. And I'm using just light pressure. Not getting too crazy. I'm going to leave a space in here that's going to be my light source. They don't have to be perfect. You don't want them perfect. Because stones sometimes have little cracks in them, like that. Then once you've got them down, if you see that you want to add a few more, you can come in and add a few more. Now this is where your pencil comes in. This is a number 2. And I'm going to add some pencil right in there and behind the flower. So if I came in here and I wanted to darken behind here, oh, I think my other pencil is better. No? I'll get it soon. Oh, there we go. I can come in and do that, and then bring my blending stump in and pull that out. See how it works? I love this. This is the fun part for me. So what I'm going to do is I've already put my pencil here, and I'm just going to start to pull it out a little bit. And I'm not going to press real hard because I don't want to ruin the paper. If you treat the paper kindly, it will be good to you. If you are rough with your paper, because this is not a fabulous paper like you would get if you had a whole big sheet of it, it would be really, like Archer's or something. Don't concern yourself with the eraser until the end. Then you can come in and do whatever you want. Now, I also came in afterwards, as you can see here, and you can see these very, very light lines that I put on the outside. So at the end, when I'm all done, I might come in and flick some light lines. Or I can just come in and create a shadow with my pencil. Get my blending stump and pull it out a little bit. Just so that it pops this forward, makes this pop, and creates a shadow in the background. So again, I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to be very careful around my flower, because I don't want it to have an oops moment. I am going to bring that pencil right around close to the edge of the flower. And I'm going to give it a shadow right there as well. I'm going to smudge that down. And then I'm going to smudge this forward. I'm also going to leave a little light there. And there you have it. Now I have a little bit of pencil lead left on my blending stump, so I can come in and add a little shadow. If you wanted to add your shadow first, you could do that as well. I don't recommend it because I don't like anything to interfere with my ink, but you can certainly do it that way if that is how you like it. You can come in and shade as you go along. Put a little here, a little there. Again, it's a time saver. And if you don't like it, it's only pencil. You know? So I have that nice look. You can bring that color in or take it away. The pen, well, that's a whole different ball game. So you cannot erase the pen, just the pencil. So continue on, and if you wanted to do this, you can do this. So I will show you how I use my pen after. So I shaded this one already with the pencil. I'm going to come in, do some flicking, flick, flick, flick. Me, but if you think you're doing it wrong, don't worry about it. You're not doing it wrong. You're creating an opportunity. So this is what you'll do. I don't care for the pen over it. I like the pen under it. But you can always come in with your pencil and shade it a little bit more, soften it, and there you have it, okay? So I want you to do that, and then we're going to come back for the next session. Do not touch the center. That is a whole different ballgame. But I don't want you to have to watch me do all of these. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and we will do another portion shortly, okay? Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to leave me a message about what kind of projects you would be interested in doing. Okay? Thank you. Bye.